everyone, and welcome to another episode of Taco Matta Tuesday, the show where we eat healthy, delicious tacos and have conversations about life. If there is something that I could go back and tell a younger version of myself, I think one thing that I would definitely tell her is that disappointment is nothing but a temporary detour on the road to success. This is something that stood true and something that I personally got to live through this weekend after I spent my time out in Connecticut at Underdog Fitness doing a big DECA and High Rocks race weekend. And it was an absolute blast, full of so many highs and lows, good, the bad, the ugly. And I'm so excited to just share all of that with you. But before we do that, let's go ahead and jump into the taco of the week. Because, of course, you know, it was inspired by what it was that I ate out there in Connecticut. It is not an ice cream taco. If Jess or Kevin is listening to this, it is not an ice cream taco. Yes, we ate a lot of ice cream, but that's what I do when I go out and visit them because that's like just part of our relationship. Actually, we got the chance to finally go out and have sushi, and it just hit the freaking spot, you guys. So I wanted to bring back one of my favorite recipes, which is the surfin' sriracha lime tacos. If you're a sushi fan, if you like ahi tuna, y'all, this is it. That's all. Just go to the show notes after you get done with the episode today. Be sure to tap on the recipe card because it's pretty freaking good. And I know that I enjoyed my time getting back into the sushi world this weekend. So just bringing that in a healthy, delicious way, all wrapped up in a tortilla for you. Boom. All right. Let's move on, shall we? Let's talk about the amazing of what happened this weekend. Specifically, how I was able to take a moment in time that felt so shitty and then be able to turn around and make it one of the most memorable and amazing experiences ever. So when I originally went out there, when I was planning to go out there, I was planning to do my very first ruck race, which essentially you have a 20-pound backpack on your back while you do any one of the style of the races. So I got convinced that I needed to try at least one of them at some point during my career. And I got the itch and I was like, you know what? Let's do my favorite race, the Strong. Let's go after it. Why not? I already have my other qualifying times of the season for individuals that I wanted to put up. This is just an opportunity to go out there and have fun and challenge myself along people that I absolutely love and adore. So I decided that was going to be one of the main races that I focused on, and I actually had a minor goal or two around doing something special with that race while I was out there. When I originally did a simulation of the race back here in Colorado, I did it at about a 14:08 pace. The current world record then was a 16:30, 16 and change, okay? I was about to blow that out of the water, and I knew that was about to happen. So I did have the goal to go out there and to snatch the brand new world record. But more importantly, I had this goal to essentially hit or beat the time that I was stuck at for my individual strong, no ruck included, which was 14:42. For the longest of times. That was my absolute goal. It was like, this would be super cool if not only I snatched the world record, but I was actually able to beat the time that kind of kept me in this freaking guardrail for who knows how long before I started working with Kevin and the Underdog team. So I was just super excited to get gritty and grind it out. Just having the heavy weight on my back just made me feel powerful. And I was ready to rumble when the time came. And so long story short, I get done with the race, and burpees with 20 pounds on your back in addition to lifting a ram is no joke, okay? The rest of the race I felt really good about. Just that last minute of my life, I questioned it, okay? When you're questioning your life and your coach goes, Kayla, I need you to give me your ruck, you know that something is up. So I give him my ruck, and he goes and he weighs it. And he's like, shit. And I'm like, oh no. He goes, well, you just got a fantastic time of 14:09, but unfortunately is not going to count as a ruck. And I was like, how short were we? He goes, we were short by a good couple of pounds on the ruck. And that's hindsight 2020, right? Is we should have weighed the ruck. He threw it to me originally and said, this is our 20-pound ruck. I put it on. I was like, wow, this feels really good. Like almost light, but I'm not going to argue with it. Like it is what it is. Well, I should have listened to myself saying, should we weigh this first? That would be a good idea. Because then I would have not had to have put myself in this situation. But I did. And there I was, gasping for air. And just, when you hit that sort of fatigue and you go to that place, whether it's for 30 seconds or 30 minutes, you're thinking, hell no, I don't want to go there again. That just hurt. And so I'm laying there on the floor thinking how big of a bummer this is. And so I rock myself up and I'm like, I got to go for a walk because I know that my coach feels really bad. Dave is sitting there like, fuck, I don't even know what to do. Excuse my language. Sorry. I just got done traveling for a very long day. I don't know what's about to come out on this episode, you guys. There's close to no filter left. We're just going to leave it as it is. But I'm like, he's like, crap, this is not good. So I go on a walk and I'm like, okay, I have options here. Clearly, I have to do it again if I want it to count. So that is the option. Or the other option is to not do it and just say, hey, forget about it, right? I don't need to do it. I just told myself I wanted to test myself and try it. I could leave it as that and give myself grace and say, hey, heck with it, right? So on my walk, I had some talks with myself and I came back into the gym and they just looked at me and I was like, I'm going to do it again. Give me some time, but I'm going to do it again. And so they actually, it was one of my favorite moments. I had so many favorite moments of the weekend, but it was one of my favorite moments of the weekend when Dave, my boyfriend, and Bubbles, Kevin Gregory, actually did a race together. They did the Deca Mile, and they put up the second fastest American male team time. I was such a happy girlfriend watching the entire thing. It was so freaking cool. So I watched that, got my energy back up, decided I was going to go for it again. Did the whole thing, knew that I was probably going to be a little bit slower, but it didn't matter. I was just proud of myself, even in the moment where I was like, screw this. I do not want to do this right now. I don't want to put myself through pain when I know I have to do 2 more painful things tomorrow and potentially another painful thing if they talk me into it on Sunday. This is Friday when this is happening. So I didn't want to waste any energy that I knew that I needed for other races that were just as important, if not more important than that. So I was proud of myself for pushing through, do the whole thing, get done. We know that the ruck is the right weight. And he goes, congratulations, you earned the new record, the new world record holder for the Deca Strong ruck, 14:31. And I was like, absolutely amazing. I beat my goal of, getting the new world record, but then I just also beat my goal twice in a row of doing a strong in some capacity underneath 14:42. And I just felt so freaking awesome. And guys, this is what I really want to get into today is turning your disappointments into victories. Because if we are able to bounce back and to have that sort of adaptability in life and whatever it is that we do, I truly believe we will always win at the end of the day, even when it feels like we're going nowhere. And these are the things, these are the lessons that came, these are the things that I did in order to turn this moment that felt so heavy and so shitty into something that was an absolutely amazing feat that made me say, you know what? I needed that more than I needed to just walk in and have the perfect race happen. Because I knew I was capable of it. Everyone knew I was capable of it. But in some weird way, the universe said, nope, you need this challenge. Here you go. Here's your gift, right? And I think the more that we can do that in life, the better. So the first thing that I want to share is that you are allowed to be upset. You are 100% allowed in the time where life gives you something that is not lemons, that makes you want to cringe. You are allowed to be upset at first, but it's crucial to come back and see the bigger picture. The rule of thumb that I typically give myself in these type of circumstances is I tell myself that if it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes being upset about it. that allows for you to the time to not just suppress it and put it in that weird closet that eventually overflows and bursts at the seams, right? Like, we don't want to do that. But it allows for you to actually process it and then say, you know what? It's water under the bridge. Let's look to the next thing and how we're going to build upon it. And that's exactly what I did. When I went on my walk, the thing that I told myself was, the universe is giving me a gift. It doesn't feel like it right now, but if I can so clearly think about this, it's the fact that in a couple of months in December, I'm going to be doing close to back-to-back races, multiple races a day, 3 days in a row. Okay, probably just 2 because I don't really care to do the fit, but that's not this conversation that we're talking about. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be doing a lot of races, right? So why am I waiting to do that then? Why am I not just allowing myself to say, okay, we're just going to do that now. We're going to train for that now. Like, mentally, physically, emotionally, when you're at your wit ends, and like, for God's sakes, I could do a race out there and be super disappointed by what happens, and I have to pick up and do the next race immediately, right? And so I just looked at it as, yes, I know that you have other important things to do this weekend, but what's the difference? There's none. So take this as a gift. Let's take the reframe and let's run with it. And that's exactly what I did. And I told Dave that right before I went. I was like, look, this is my reframe, and I might need you to help me remind myself of that. If I look like on my face like I am not doing well, just say reframe or say something, and just help me get back into it, right? So in these moments in life that you might be experiencing right now, if you have not taken an opportunity to find the other side of the coin, to see the glass half full, to find the reframe, my friend, it is time to do it, because in those moments, it completely changed the outcome of my weekend. I could have walked away, and guess what? That would have been the easier option, and that would have been the bigger disappointment. The best thing that could have happened to me this weekend is that I had something that didn't go the way that it should have, or that I wanted it to, and I was able to pick myself back up, do the damn thing, and build some freaking confidence that I am more than capable of doing back-to-back races and doing them well. That means more than having the perfect race and having a 20-something second faster time on the world leaderboard. That doesn't matter. What matters is the person that I became in those moments leading up to that second race and who I walked out of that second race as. So that's the first thing I want to mention. Hopefully that made sense in the middle of my mumbo jumbo. The second thing, your biggest disappointments are your setups for the most incredible comebacks. And that was another big reminder that I had to give myself. My goal, you guys, like I said, was to beat 1442. I did that twice alongside breaking a world record. And the best part is that I was able to build up so much confidence for what's possible for me without a ruck on. Realizing that I went so slow, and I was like, yo, I am so strong. I am so dialed into this race and where it is that I need to be by December. This is allowing for me to set some really spicy goals going into world championships, and that confidence was just absolutely amazing. So again, when these moments happen, not only do we need to look for the reframe, but we need to remember that our biggest setbacks are just our setups. That this is an opportunity. What do you want to share with people? What is the story that you are going to tell? That's another big reminder that I tell myself, right? If you are truly going to take this moment as a low and elevate yourself, how does that story end? Does it end in disappointment of fear of failure or fear of hurt? Or does it end in absolute victory because you overcame and you chose a different path? I'm going to choose that path every single time. So just remember how big of a gift these setbacks are in your life and what it's setting you up to become, and for all the opportunities that are lying in your path. The last thing that I want to mention to you guys is please remember that your time is coming. It's 100% coming. I know that there have been times where I've thrown up my hands and I'm questioning, when will it ever be my turn? When will I finally get to where it is that I truly want to go? And I get how frustrating that is and how disappointing it is when you beat yourself over and over and over again trying to do the same thing to get to the same place. It's so, so crappy to feel like you have no more options. But I want to remind you, if you are in that grind right now, that your time is coming. Let go of what you want and find an open heart to the opportunities that might be everything you need instead. I always say, we don't get what we want, we get what we need. So how can you open yourself up, both your mind, your ears, your heart, to all the opportunities that are out there? They're lying there on the path for you. You just have been maybe a little stubborn to not go out there and see what they're about, to at least give them a chance. Guys, I had zero interest. A couple months ago when I went out in June, they were like, put on a ruck. I was like, hell no, I ain't doing that. I did not want to do that at all. And I also, too, this last week before I traveled out, Kevin messaged me and was like, hey, do you want to do the mile or the strong? Because we could realistically only do one. And I was like, selfishly, I'd like to do the strong because I feel like that's our strongest of races. But if we already have a qualifying time and we're trying to put up as many qualifying times as we can in different races and spread our chips out, it should probably be the mile. And that's not necessarily my strength, right? But here's what happened. Because I was able to have an open heart to what Kevin was proposing, to what everyone was telling me about throwing on the ruck and challenging my mind in a different way, I came to find that I actually really like, as sick as it sounds, I love having something on my back and feeling empowered while I trudge through some of the harder races that I've ever done. I freaking love that. I love how empowered and amazing that I felt through that. And what came as a second byproduct with that is being now, for the first time ever in my life, a world record holder of something. And just going out with the 2024 qualifying season was such a freaking bang. And what I also got to do was have the race of a freaking lifetime with my coach this weekend, doing the mile. Again, the race that I feel like I'm not the strongest in, because I've always told myself the story as of recent that I am not a runner, that I am not as fast as these other girls that literally grew up doing cross country and track and all of the running things that I don't do. I danced. Okay, I played softball. Yes, I ran from base to base occasionally, but I am not that. And I always try and pit myself up against these people and compare myself in that way. And it's like, why? That is so freaking dumb. What I bring to the table is such a well-rounded background, and that's what I should be excited about, is the chance and the opportunity to execute that, to bring what is fully myself to the table, not anyone else but myself to the table. And what happened is we ended up almost setting a brand new freaking world record for the co-ed Deca Mile teams. We were 3 seconds away from doing it. Absolutely insane. And that's what happens when you give yourself the chance to just be open to the opportunities that are coming your way. But this doesn't just come overnight. Guys, this is something that takes patience. And if there's anything else that I could tell you today, it's that you have to be patient in the work that you do every single day and lean into the time it takes to get to where you're going by just getting lost in the progress and just getting lost in the process of making progress, right? I have been working on my running since March or April when I told Kevin that I wanted to do the fit that was coming out here. And I knew that it was going to be really hard, and my God, it tested me. But ever since then, I've done the Wild West Relay, where it's an over 200-mile race with this team in the middle of freaking nowhere, traveling across Colorado. I've done a variety of other things that have involved running, and I've just continued to work on my craft in that space every single day. And some days have gone really well, and some days have gone really poorly. And there's been days that have been in between. But I've found the small wins and the moments where I felt amazing, and I found the learning lessons and the things that felt like shit. And what that has compiled to over time, 4 to 6 months later, is I got to run the race of my life with my coach and have so much fun doing it and literally fly around that course in a way that I never thought that I could do. All of that being said, I want to leave you with this thought, that what really screws us up the most in life is the pictures that we create in our heads of how it's supposed to be. Disappointment comes from our own expectations. And a lot of our expectations are around what other people are doing, who they're becoming, the life that they're living, the things that they are achieving. But the moment that we can turn that around and no longer have expectations of who we think that people think that we should be, and we start living for ourselves and creating standards around how we want to live a purposeful, genuine, authentic life to us, that is when we start to take our disappointments and truly turn them into victories. Thank you guys so much for showing up for you today, and I really hope that this episode has helped. If it did, please be sure to share it with a friend, family member, whoever it is that needs to hear this message. And of course, rate and review the podcast if you've not done so already. Thank you once again for allowing for this time and space to be therapy for me just as much as it is for you. I so enjoy speaking with you guys on the other side of the microphone and can't wait to see what comes up this week as far as lessons and what I'll get to talk to you guys about next week. So have a great week, you guys, and I'll see you then.